Regular meeting to order. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All approved. Comments from the public. The board has set aside time at the beginning and end of regular meetings for public comments from members of the public to share their views on matters involving the Wilton Public Schools and to help inform the board's decisions on such matters. 2 minutes will be allotted to each speaker and a maximum of 15 minutes to any one subject. For the record, please also give your name and address. The board considers the views of citizens in its deliberations and welcomes and appreciates public comment. The board listens to public comment thoughtfully and with interest. The board, however, generally does not respond to public comment during board meetings by offering commentary or answering questions. The board also invites commentators and the public to contact the board or the superintendent directly with any specific questions or comments. Are there any comments from the public? Lucille? Hearing none, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Consent agenda passes. Can I have a motion to move the review and discuss student video production campaign for safe driving up to the next item on the agenda?
Okay, I move that we move review and discuss before reports of recognition.
Is there a second? All in favor? So we are so excited to have you all here tonight to show us and present to us your video production campaign on safe driving.
Great, so why don't you introduce yourselves, introduce your amazing teacher over there, and then, show us what you got.
Hi, I'm Jeanette Rosenthal, and this is our lovely teacher, Mrs. Naeem.
Hello, I'm Finn O'Connor, and I'm a junior here at Wilton High School.
I'm Jason Tsangi, and I'm also a junior here at Wilton High School.
And we are media production students. I've been president of the club for the last 2 years, and it has been an amazing experience. 2 years ago, we started a mission promoting safe driving. And we decided to do this because it's become like a sensitive topic to us since we're teen drivers and we hear stuff about this on the news. 4,000 teens die a year from distracted driving, 50% of which are passengers, and 100% is preventable. So as we hear so many stories, we wanted to promote safe driving, so we went to different locations like farmers markets or basketball games and sports games to raise awareness. And we were even recognized by the State Department of Connecticut in Transportation in the Senate. Just right here.
Yeah, congratulations. That's terrific.
Yeah. This year, our mission is to spread awareness to where it all starts, with you, our role models, our parents, and our educators. We realize that the biggest influencers of distracted driving are the parents. With their busy day-to-day schedules, they're driving the kids from practice to practice, and they're displaying a very dangerous form of distracted driving, which is multitasking. The kids are learning from them, and that's where they're apprehending the knowledge of distracted driving. So because of that, we want you to all pledge with us to become focused drivers.
We want all parents to display the behaviors they want to see in their kids. Some of these behaviors include not texting or calling while driving, not drinking or eating while driving, and certainly not yelling at their kids while driving. If we apply these strategies, we believe that the roads will be safer for our children's futures.
We would like to leave you with a PSA created by one of our team members, Ethan Bailey, to support the mission.
What are you doing? Put the phone down.
Sorry, we're at a stop sign.
It doesn't matter. You can't do that while you're driving.
Thank you, and we hope you all take the pledge with us to become safe drivers.
Bravo, that was
Thank
great.
you, that was awesome. Is this up on a website somewhere? And maybe with a correlated pledge?
It's in the process. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
We have a website called Think About Me Too, and it has like all these resources and information on there.
Can we negotiate that last one about yelling at your kids while driving? So-
Kids not yell at their parents.
Yes, right? Yeah. Well, listen, thank you. That's great. And I think this is a powerful PSA. I'll speak for myself, but certainly making an effort to join you about being a more focused driver is really important, and you've got my pledge.
Mine as well. I know, I'm sure my kids could say, Mom.
What inspired you to do this?
Yeah, so for me, kind of personally, I just felt like I heard so many stories growing up. I have a bunch of older cousins. So I have cousins, I'm the third youngest in my family, and I have 11 cousins older than me. And a bunch of them have been driving for over 5 years. And I've heard all these stories from my aunts and uncles about how they almost got into all these accidents and how all these issues happened. And I was like, what if we can stop this before it all starts? And that's what kind of got me inspired to join this club.
That's great. Well done, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, bravo. So,
Thank you so much.
yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. And you've got the rest of the night to go and do homework or whatever you need to do for the last half day.
Enjoy your
Yes.
Thank you
break.
so much for
Very
letting me
much
come.
so.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Maria.
Okay.
Yeah. I watched that PSA earlier, and it was so creative and so
Yeah.
powerful,
Really well done.
Yeah.
right? And to be able to capture such a powerful message inside a minute and 10 seconds or something is impressive.
The thing that gets me is that, you know, there was a time that you would have looked back 7 years ago and there wouldn't have been a cell phone, and not for these kids.
Yeah, true.
I just have a short chair report tonight. Just good evening, everyone. The main business of tonight's meeting is for the board to vote on and adopt a 23-24 budget. The budget building process began in December. Kevin presented an initial proposal on January 12th, and since then, the board and the administration has been discussing, deliberating, and altering the proposal. In addition to regular meeting discussion, the board held 3 budget workshops, asked a series of questions that generated written responses, and briefed and met with the Board of Finance. We also asked Marianne, Dawn, and Lucille to do a lot of work, so thank you very much. Tonight, Kevin will present a final proposal. The board will discuss and vote. On March 27th, the Board of Finance will hold a public hearing on the Board of Education adopted budget. At the hearing, as board chair, I will present the board adopted budget to the Board of Finance and the town. Following the presentation, the Board of Finance may ask questions, and members of the community are invited to comment. Public participation and comment is encouraged and welcome, both in person and in writing. The Board of Finance has also set its budget deliberation meeting dates for April 3rd, 4th, 10th, and 11th. The fiscal year 2024 annual town meeting is expected to be held on Tuesday, May 2nd, with adjourned voting following the meeting, and on Saturday, May 6th. Also of note, there are several upcoming community events. On Friday, February 28th at 10 a.m. at Comstock, Kevin, Amy Korn, and Jeremy Cross will lead a book discussion of Let Them Thrive, a playbook for helping your child succeed in school and life. Let Them Thrive by Katie Novak provides practical strategies for helping children become self-navigating expert learners, a key aspect of the portrait of the graduate. More information can be found at the Wilton Youth Council website. On Friday, March 3rd at 9:15 a.m. at the YMCA, there will be a community conversation on mental health. The presentation and discussion will focus on the current mental health landscape, what mental health includes, signs of concerns in youth and adults, when to reach out for help, and who to contact. Dr. Andrew Gerber, Silver Hill President and Medical Director, will give a keynote address followed by a panel discussion and audience questions. More information and free registration can be found at the Wilton Youth Council website. Also, on Tuesday, March 7th at 7 p.m. at the Middlebrook Auditorium, the Middlebrook PTA and the Wilton Public Schools are sponsoring an evening with Scott Driscoll on the ever-changing world of the internet and social media. Registration is free and can be found through the Middlebrook PTA website. Thank you. superintendent's report.
Great. So I've got 3 items for you. Some congratulations, a brief update on the progress of the Middlebrook schedule, and just a summary of the tri-state visit. So first, with congratulations, we, as we typically do, got great news and did very, very well with the Scholastics Art and Writing Awards this year here in Connecticut. So we want to congratulate Taylor Felipe, Cindy Rodriguez, and Jessica Fang, who each won Best in Connecticut for their pieces. So Taylor won a gold key in Best in Ceramics. Her piece was called Blue Breeze and earned the show's top prize. Cindy Rodriguez won Best in Photography. Her piece was called Twilight Dream and also earned the top prize in the photography category. And then Jessica Fang won for Best in Sculpture. Her piece was called Losing Myself. We have a video here we're going to show in just a second so you can see some of these pieces. Wilton won a total of 17 medals at the 2023 Scholastic Arts and Writing Awards. As a district, we came in second place for the most medals and won from... Oh, sorry. I'm just tired. We came in second. So as a district. So let me just stop talking right there. Of the 17 medals we won, 8 were gold awards and 6 were silver awards, and then the 3 best in state. So the art department, led by I'm having such a brain moment here. Sue Labarbera put together a video with Sue Brandt just to highlight the awards. So take a look. They stunning
Really
is right.
impressive,
Yeah, aren't they amazing? And so, you know, let's take a minute and think about our fine arts teachers across the district. Sue Labarbera, Sue Brandt, Michelle Currier here. There are others. They do fine work, inspire our kids, and our kids, as you saw, produce just incredible art. And so they really not only supporting the kids, but I know when they were they had a day where they were transporting artwork up to the competition itself, and again they just put in countless hours and endless effort to get this done, and they represent us and our district really, really well. So hats off to them, and kudos on such a fine showing.
And winning the Scholastic Art Awards really opens so many doors
It
to
does.
these students. And
Yeah.
I don't think any there are people that comes along with it, the scholarships. And, I think that's really great. And
Yeah,
wow.
terrific, right? So great. We also want to congratulate, we just got news, and I guess this will be made public tomorrow morning, but we have 12 of our students are National Merit finalists. So those are, I think some of you know very well, Lucy Beach, Justine Biersack, Garrett Bouvier, Aaron Griffin, Avni Gupta, Vihan Jayawardene, Gaithri Kaimel, Lucas Kutsukas, Henry Rowley, Sean Thomas, Thomas Welch, and Joshua Zheng. And so congratulations to all of them. That is really, really tremendous.
That was a lot.
It is a lot. We haven't had 12 in a long time. So really super impressive students, and congratulations to them. And another just a fine opportunity. So on to Middlebrook's schedule. So this week, the Middlebrook folks have been pretty busy. Beginning on Monday, this past Monday, they put copies of schedules out in the workroom and had published all of the comments and feedback that the staff had provided up to that point on the Google form that they'd shared with them. And so folks had a chance to come through, take a look at it. The scheduling committee met Tuesday afternoon and then I think yesterday morning as well. It sounds like they have 3 they're still looking at, 2 are have a lot of interest, and Jory is going to continue to work with the faculty to home in on one of those schedules, and I think structurally they're very similar. He's got a number of volunteers among the staff who are participating in the scheduling committee. Cindy Beckmore, Joanna Clarity, Stephen Duray, Katie Durkin, Terry Ellis, Jenny Ginsberg, Darren Gunn, Jen Kaminsky, Megan Linnaeus, Polly Metz, Pat Mulhall, Janet Nobles, Hillary Shafransky, Heather Schlitz, Julianne Walsh, Nicole Curzay, Toby Quas, Damien, and Joy all step forward to do this. So they'll continue to work and refine, and the hope is when they land here on March 2nd, they'll have a single schedule that they're pursuing. The PTA had a meeting today. I think, Ruth, you were there. I don't know if anyone else was there. And so Jory got to share the ins and outs of that schedule. Pam, you were there also? Oh, great.
Sapphire, orange and white. Orange.
Yeah, so Sapphire and Orange sound like the heavy
Sapphire and orange
favorites.
seem to be the
Yeah.
two.
Orange, plus flex or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So going forward, Jory will set up some meetings for the week or afterwards to bring in some more parents and just to walk them through. But I think, my takeaway is that generally the feedback has been positive. There's interest, and it looks like we have a pathway forward. So there we go.
I agree.
Great. So last update is the Tri-State Consortium visit. So first, thank you to all of you who were able to participate. I also want to say a special thanks to all of our staff who worked so diligently to gather resources and to organize the visits to schools and classrooms, and then the conversations with students and parents. Tip of the cap to Frank Kompar, who kind of led that whole thing, but also our LLC and Tech IL staff, were just amazing and organizing all that the visiting team got to look at. They were here for 2.5 days last week. Last Friday morning, we came together, and they typically close out these visits with what they call a consultancy protocol, and it's an opportunity first for the team to debrief with a group of us kind of listening, and then we have a kind of a more shared interaction. And so I was really struck by some of the feedback that came through that consultancy. I just want to share a little bit of it with you right now. So one visitor described our district as courageous for forging ahead with such meaningful and impactful work during the pandemic. A second team member reported feeling inspired by what she saw across our schools and classrooms, and a third described Wilton as a beacon for other districts, lighting the way forward as they wrestle with how to evolve in service to a changing world. That was really great. Of the many highlights, they shared, not surprisingly, that our students were the brightest part of the visit. They described how our students really get the portrait of the graduate, and they had a number of kind of quotes and feedback from kids, particularly here at the high school and at the middle school, where there really seemed to be embracing some of the attributes and ideas embedded within those attributes. A few other comments that were shared that really resonated were that as a district, Wilton is a people-driven place. That time and attention are really being paid to the idea of a balanced, healthy human being, and that there's a strong feeling across schools and constituencies of common movement in the same direction. So that was, again, just really positive feedback and affirming to the work that we're doing. So the Tri-State team is compiling all of their information. They'll produce for us a report and a set of recommendations. We hope to have that prior to our long-range planning meeting on the 8th of March, and we'll use that information to inform long-range planning. And I expect probably what we'll do going forward is organize a working group that will really dive into that report, take the information from long-range planning, and just kind of move us forward and plan the next steps.
It's really a good thing.
Yes.
Very helpful, good thoughtful people.
Yeah, I thought so too. And some of the feedback I heard from some of our staff is they found the visit energizing.
Yeah.
Being able to focus on something really positive and life-giving that we're doing as a district, I think was well met all the way around.
Very good people.
Committee reports, teaching and learning.
So we met, we did the continuous improvement from Saturday. So Dr. Falcone presented her proposal. She talked about the resource called Teachers Clarity and asked, which is basically asking the question, what are the students learning and how are they going to own it? So the staff and administrators were finding that they didn't have clarity over what they were teaching, and so they wanted to find a way to focus better. And so they came up with this, the model is called the Teacher's Clarity Playbook, and that's what they're going to jump off of. They're still in the beginning stages of implementing this, but they feel that they have found a way of just kind of refocusing their teaching and the way they're going to address the curriculum and access to curriculum for the kids. And it talks about the kids having more ownership of their own learning and ways for them to show that to access themselves in the learning. So it was very interesting to me, at least, that this seemed like a very good model for a school. We then went to the coaching survey. Dr. Chuck Smith presented the different schools from Miller Driscoll, Cider Mill, Willowbrook, and the high school. There were definitely a lot of positive results from the survey in Miller Driscoll, Cider Mill, and the high school, with Middlebrook still trying to find some traction in terms of just making it a more viable process in that school. But I think at the end of the day, people are finding it to be helpful. I think one of the suggestions was to find a way for the teachers for the coaches to work with the curriculum so that the coaching and the curriculum are aligned. Coaches and the curriculum are aligned. But it would, I have a more detailed report, but I can give you the teacher numbers if you'd like that.
I have it. I don't need it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you all have it, all right. It was a good report though, on the whole.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
look at me. The only other thing I would add.
You're right across from me, Jen, so that's all. There's no it's just, I'll look at Ruth and stuff.
That's okay. The only thing I would totally agree. The only thing I would add, I didn't feel like there were, given how many people we have on staff, the turnout I would have liked it to have been higher.
Yeah.
To give a more valid kind of understanding of how we like it or don't like it or what we can do. There were a number of people who shared some ways to make changes to it to make it more beneficial to everybody, and I'm hoping that maybe at our next teaching and learning meeting that we could kind of talk about that. I know Chuck was going to reach out to some of those members in general and just kind of, sorry, you're kind of behind me, talk to everybody and just kind of gather some ideas and ways to move forward.
Yeah, it's very much on his mind, so stand by.
Okay. Oh, there's my pencil. Policy and communications.
We met, was it only this week? Was it last Tuesday? It was a Tuesday recently. We talked about the
It was February 7th.
we talked about two policies that we talked about previously. One, the suicide prevention and intervention. I think that's nearly ready for prime time.
It is.
And the transportation policies are still a work in progress.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, we'll have at the next meeting. We've deferred action on a bunch of policies too, so we'll have a whole spate that we bring forward. Can't wait.
Do you guys have, there's been a lot of questions about having watches and phones at school in the younger grades.
Right
Somebody
here.
said that it was going to the policy committee. Is that true or not true?
It hasn't come to the policy committee yet, so Jen and Fran actually just met this morning to look at some potential policy changes, and also Fran needed to get a sense from her and that school, what the parameters of the issues are that they're confronting. And so we've got that information. Fran and I met this afternoon. I looked at that as part of our meeting, and so I think we have to make a decision about what pieces of that we'd want to add into our responsible use policy. So Shipman also has a model policy that we looked at. I didn't think that one addressed our needs, but you know, we're kind of working through it and we'll roll forward.
And then, business ops met this morning.
We did.
We did. So it was,
It was fun.
Yeah, it's been a day.
Long day for you.
So we met this morning, and we talked about the fiscal year 24 budget, which we will talk about briefly in a moment. We also looked at the financial report as of January 31st. We have yet to, we're hoping to find better alignment in the coming months on some of the changes to the transportation lines and the electricity lines. We're still watching overtime and substitutes. And there was an emergency bill that was recently passed in the State House that should hopefully generate some additional ECS funding for us, and we'll know more in the coming weeks.
Yes.
Okay. And now to possible action items. Discuss and approve superintendent's proposed 23-24 budget, board goal number 7.
Great. So I'm asking for a motion this evening to adopt a budget proposal in the amount of $90,581,692, which reflects a 4.5% increase over this current year's spending. So that's a proposal that's been revised down twice now. So the original was 599. We were able to revise it down to 475 a week ago, and then most recently to 45. The most recent reductions that lead to that final proposal include an additional FTE reduction of 1.5 certified staff. So you'll just recall from our numerous conversations over the last month, with the proposed schedule change at Middlebrook, we know that that would enable a reduction of 9.0 FTE from the language arts department. I had assumed 7 in the initial budget and kind of held 2. A reduction of 7 and held 2 in the budget. I'm revising that now, so we'll hold a 0.5 to cover some probably needed FTE to cover French, and then possibly some salary to cover cafeteria aides. And then we can reduce the other 1.5. And then beyond that, so that's about $160,888. We've been continuing to work on the athletic transportation budget, and after reviewing those numbers again with Marianne, we thought we could come down there again another $25,000. So STA has started to pick up the athletic runs. That's been working well. So we'll see probably in the coming monthly financial reports that some more favorability in that line. But anyway, so we were able to take 25 there. And then when we looked at the proposed pre-K tuition revenue, what we discovered was that amount did not capture the price increase for next year. And so Marianne reran those numbers, and we were able to increase that anticipated revenue by about $25,000. So all of that combines to the numbers I just gave you, which reflects a 4.5% increase.
Thoughts around the table? Anybody like to go first?
No, it's great, I guess, that you've been able to get it down, and just again, a reminder, I mean, it's really impressive what, I know it's just keeping things even, but what we've retained. And I talk a lot about when I was a teenager in the early 80s, and, you know, art and music were drastically cut, and it's just great that we are able to provide a well-balanced education to our students, and I want to continue to do that for the future generations. And I know it's, like, as, to quote all of us, right, none of us want to pay more in taxes, but when we moved here, I at least assumed our taxes would go up. So
That's all I have to say.
I think for me, the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around is the loss of staff. Because we were cutting people now, and that to me is the roughest part of this budget for me. I think you've done an admirable job keeping what the core values of what this district represents. But when we're cutting people, then that diminishes a lot for me, what we should be trying to, promote. And I think, even though I think it's a good budget, the teachers are our best resource. So when we're kind of struggling with what to do, and that has to happen, I think that's just a way of, there's a certain reality to what we have to do, but it's also a sad thing for us, for me especially, to just sort of wrap my head around the fact that we're going to lose probably very good teachers. So I hope we can find soft landings for them. I hope there's a way to keep them with us, because we just have very good people here.
Yeah, and that's something we're working on.
Support them.
Yeah, I mean, the dynamics, the environment is dynamic around, just job change and staff change. So as we move forward here, again, whether people get to stay with us or, they need to find a position in a different district, we're going to do as much as we can to support all of them.
Thank you, everyone, for your hard work producing this budget, and it seemed like Groundhog Day doing it. It's regrettable, but the declining enrollment and the fact that no staffing changes have been made at Middlebrook while they've had 175 pupils we've lost over the last 10 years. It was going to happen, but it's regrettable, but it's reality.
Now we are all.
I think there's still things in the budget that I would love to work through. I don't know how you guys get it any lower at this point. We've already let 9 people go. So I think there's other places. I still want to look at Helping Hands. I still want to look at pay to play, looking at clubs and stipends and those kinds of things. It doesn't need to be done, obviously, before we all vote on a budget, but certainly things that I want to look into before
Sure.
next year.
Yeah, so there would definitely be a time that we would sit around this table and say, 4.5, what's the new initiative, what are we doing? And the reality of our current fiscal situation is we're holding steady, and we're preserving our program, and we're, maintaining our values and our mission. And I think that that's beyond important, and something that it's hard to reconcile with when you have that 4.5 number in front of you. But going from what would happen from here is something that I'm fairly loath to entertain. So I definitely support this proposal as it stands. Any other thoughts or comments before we put a motion out?
No, I think so. Moving forward, at some point, we're going to have to look at administration positions, and I know some people are asking for more, and I feel like it's going to be harder to cut teachers moving forward if we have all of our administrators and extra whatever. So just something to think about moving forward.
I think, moving forward, they'll definitely have to, hopefully not harder decisions than we're faced with right now. But I do believe that this this budget provides a balance that preserves the classroom and the system at the same time. Is there a motion to adopt the superintendent proposed budget of $90,581,692?
I move that we adopt the superintendent's budget as it is.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Congratulations, you have a budget.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you don't have a budget?
Well, I always have a budget. Now it's a shared budget.
Now it's a shared budget. But just also, thank you, Dawn and Marianne and Lucille and everybody for all their hard work. It's truly appreciated. And I know the work doesn't stop, tonight, but really, thank you very much for all you do.
So I don't know where this was in, but I'm just want to vote on the budget first. But I think I remember, was it 8 years ago? It was pretty soon that we did look at administration, and it's never a bad thing to check on. And we came back with that we should maintain the numbers we had, but if the positions are important, they're going to show that. And so I just want to say that
that's right.
something I think we should
Yep.
put on the agenda, to study before the next budget comes out. Not that I want to get.
Okay. For future business and information items, there was an enrollment report attached to the materials that were out tonight. Our next regular meeting is March 2nd, and long-range planning is March 8th at 6 p.m. We have another regular meeting then on March 16th, and the Board of Finance hearing on the Board of Education budget is March 27th, and that's in the Middlebrook Auditorium. And it is 7:37. Meeting adjourned.
We all deserve a win.
That's good. Well, thank you, everyone.